recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Well. That's 6 wells, Grayson. Did I get that number right?
I think so. It was either 5 or 6.
So you haven't watched The Office?
Not in a very, very long time.
Okay, so the reference did fly over your
Yeah,
head.
it did.
Tragic.
I'm one of those people that think The Office is criminally overrated.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, gosh, we could probably spend an hour on that topic alone, but we
Probably.
won't. Because guess what, Grayson? Boy, major development as far as Oklahoma's concerned in the recruitment of nationally elite defensive end Jake Krell, who is, according to Rivals, the number 3 edge defender in the nation. In case you've been living under a rock, if you didn't know, now you know. The great Steve Wiltfong of On3, former director of recruiting at 24/7 Sports, considered by many, and rightfully so, to be the authority in the college football recruiting coverage space, has officially projected via an expert prediction last night that Jake Krell is going to be an Oklahoma Sooner. So, you don't got to take the word of a sunshine pumper like me, folks. You got a national expert with absolutely no bias whatsoever. I mean, if he has any bias, it's probably towards Notre Dame, because Steve kicked off his career covering Notre Dame for years and years. There's certainly no OU bias at play there. He's got Jake Krell to the Oklahoma Sooners. How about that, Mr. Singleton? How we feeling?
It would be between him and Bo Bentley as to who the crown jewel of the 2026 recruiting class is. And I said yesterday, while you were having your little hullabaloo with your equipment yesterday, that this class is starting to be pieced together exceptionally well. It may not have the big glamour appeal, it may not have the sexiest names in it, but it pieces together well. But Jake Krell, he fits both of those. He fits well with the class. He fits well into the future that Oklahoma is trying to build by having a fortified defensive line for years and years to come. And they've certainly made exceptional headway doing that to this point. But not only does Jake Krell fit into that, but if you want your sexy name, the guy that everybody wanted who's a borderline 4 or 5 star, there you go right there. You haven't had that in the class yet. You do have it now if you are able to finish the deal and land Jake Krell. So things are starting to come together in a way that fits, but also a way that looks really good just on paper.
Jake Krell would be an enormous pickup for Oklahoma, an absolutely enormous pickup, and a guy that would show up on a college campus, and he would play, and play a lot as a true freshman. There's absolutely no way you are keeping that guy off the field for any substantial amount of time. Unless he gets injured, he will be a major factor in the rotation wherever he winds up, and obviously it's looking for the moment like it's going to be Oklahoma. Here's what's interesting, Grayson. I think we may have glossed right over this. I don't know if we ever brought this up. You talked about Bo Bentley being ostensibly the crown jewel of Oklahoma's recruiting class to this point, and that's perfectly fair. He plays the most important position on the football field. He is the quarterback. He is the centerpiece in many ways of Oklahoma's 2026 haul. But there was another very credible national expert earlier in the week that pegged Oklahoma as the destination for a guy that, should he commit, would immediately be Oklahoma's highest-rated offensive pledge of the class, and that would be 4-star wide receiver Davian Gross out of Lone Star High School in Frisco, Texas. Number 53 player in the nation in the 26 cycle. Number 4 overall athlete in the class. He is officially categorized as an athlete, which that can mean pretty much anything. But in essence, what it means, like if you look at the top 5 athletes in the Rivals national rankings for the 2026 class, you have Brandon Arrington at number 1. He's going to play cornerback. You got Lamar Brown at number 2. He's going to play offensive line. Jalen Lott, probably wide receiver for him. Davian Gross, wide receiver, no doubt. Joel Wyatt, I don't know offhand much about Joel Wyatt's recruitment or where he's going to play. But athlete is just kind of a catch-all for, we don't know necessarily what this guy is going to wind up being at the collegiate level, but he could fill a multiplicity of different roles, and that's the case for Davian Gross. He plays primarily running back at the high school level. Sooners like him as a wide receiver. They're battling Florida and Baylor down the stretch. All in all, Grayson, what we take away here is that in the aftermath of the Champion Barbecue, OU's got some serious momentum with some of the top targets on their board.
They're looking pretty good, and I hate to take this victory lap again, but it was I that told y'all just wait, be patient. Things are going to start breaking in Oklahoma's direction, and they certainly look to be doing so. Davian Gross is an interesting one because I was reading about him earlier today, and that recruitment's coming down to Oklahoma, Florida, and Baylor. We litigated why it looks like it's trending away from Baylor money-wise and the presence of Jordan Clay being the reason why. But Florida is envisioning a Percy Harvin-type role with Davian Gross, who, by the way, is exactly who I would compare Davian Gross to in terms of some kind of a comp. A wide receiver with running back twitchiness, with running back traits. And that's a guy with a creative offensive coordinator like Ben Arbuckle is presumed to be, that you could do a whole heck of a lot with. I mean, that's a dude that could really take your offensive scheme way over the top when you pair him with a guy who we think could be an elite offensive mind. So the fact that you're able to be in good position to land him, I think is something that, give it a couple of years, you could be seeing some exciting stuff with this dude.
A listener in the 405 asks, is Gross a better athlete than Elijah Thomas? I don't know. Elijah Thomas tested quite literally off the charts when he arrived at Oklahoma as an early enrollee true freshman in January. Pretty much across the board. Like, everything Elijah Thomas did was just spectacular as far as times and numbers and everything that comprises testing. Elijah Thomas excelled at. So he's a freak of an athlete. But so is Davian Gross. Like, is he a better athlete than Elijah Thomas? I don't know if I can confidently answer that question for you. What I can tell you is that Davian Gross is the reigning state champion in the state of Texas in the 200 meters. Ran it in 20.5 seconds this spring. The kid can fly and play a very variegated role on the football field. But primarily at Oklahoma, he's going to be catching passes if he does wind up an Oklahoma Sooner. And man, Oklahoma back in the national top 30 with the addition of Bo Jandro and Daniel Norman on Monday, 2 new commits for the Sooners. You land just one of those guys. And I think Gross is probably the guy between the two, him and Krell, that is on an earlier timetable. You can foresee him making a decision earlier than Krell, I think, at this point. If a guy like Gross hops on board, you're almost instantaneously knocking on the doorstep of top 20 status. And with some of the other decisions that could go Oklahoma's way here in the coming days, Deacon Schmidt on Saturday, for instance, the 4-star offensive tackle from Colorado, the Sooners are not far off from really asserting themselves back on the top tier of the national scene when it comes to recruiting rankings. And recruiting rankings, in a team sense, don't matter in June. Illinois and UCLA have top 10 classes right now. Illinois and UCLA are not going to have top 10 classes by the end of the year. I would hope I don't have to convince anybody of that. But June is generally when people start hand-wringing about where the recruiting classes stand, and most specifically Oklahoma's class. But as it stands today, Oklahoma's very much on the precipice of going on a little bit of a run. And a guy like Jake Krell, in my mind, is the type of dude that kind of like Fasusi last year. Michael Fasusi was the last pickup for Oklahoma, with the exception of Jet New, whom they flipped on signing day from Oklahoma State. But Michael Fasusi committed on August 21st, and that was kind of the cherry on top in many ways for Oklahoma's class. I think it'll be probably something similar with Jake Krell. If that one wraps up fast, great, Grayson. I mean, if that one wraps up soon, that's awesome. One less thing you got to sweat out and worry about. But I get the impression that probably what's going to happen is Oklahoma, over the course of the rest of the summer, will piece together a really strong class with additions such as Braxton Lindsey and Deacon Schmidt and potentially a guy like Davian Gross, somebody like Jaden Petit, Tyler Ruxer at the tight end position. And then at the end of it all, Jake Krell is the guy that pops in Oklahoma's favor to kind of put an impressive flourish on everything to close it out.
So what are we looking at now? Are we looking at 12 to 15 range for Oklahoma to finish up with this class with Krell and potentially Gross on board? Are we looking at cracking the top 10? Because right now you sit at 29, according to Rivals.
If you get Gross, if you get Jake Krell, if you sweep those two, again, those are two. Well, Krell is a top 50 player nationally. Gross is sitting right there at 53. That's going to give your class an incredible boost in the rankings if you're able to land both of those guys. Add in the reality that Bo Bentley's probably not done rising in the rankings. Add in the reality that there are other guys in this Oklahoma class that probably aren't done rising. Bo Jandro springs immediately to mind. Brian Harris is another guy that may not be done marching up. Daniel Odom is somebody that could gain stock based on his senior year tape if the need it is strong. Oklahoma could, and I've long said I don't know that Oklahoma gets a top 10 class in 2026. I think they're probably sitting top 12 to 15, as you mentioned. But Oklahoma could flirt with a top 10 class at this point if you get Gross and if you get Krell. Two guys of that caliber are going to weigh down your class heavily from the top end and enable you to rise up those rankings in a hurry with a couple of additions of that ilk. So right now USC has the top class in the country by a pretty wide margin, but the gap between where Oklahoma sits right now and the top, I would say, 15 teams in the nation as it stands, like LSU right now has the number 15 class with only 10 total commits. And so a couple of splashy pickups for Oklahoma is those will vault them into the top 20 certainly, and probably the top 15. Look at some of the teams that sit ahead of Oklahoma right now. It's not due to anything other than numbers. Pitt is directly ahead of Oklahoma, tied for the number 28 class in the nation. They have 22 commits. The average star rating of their commits, 2.36. Some of the other teams that sit ahead of OU, Rutgers, 2.95. SMU, an even 3. Michigan State, 3.1. Arkansas, 2.64. Minnesota, 2.75. And then you have Oklahoma at 3.38. They're going to march on up, folks. You don't have to sweat that.
By the way, Oklahoma has a higher average star commit rating than number 14 Texas.
That is true. And that has been pointed out on social media several times in the last few days by folks, because one of the things you can always count on around this time of year, and year-round, but especially this time of year, is squabbles over recruiting between OU fans and Texas fans. But, yeah, 3.38. I mean, the only school right now, until you get into the national top 10, the only school right now that sits 10 through 30 with a higher average star rating per commit than Oklahoma, well, there are two of them. Florida at 25, Washington at 26. That's it. So that just goes to show you, Oklahoma has quality in their class. The quantity isn't necessarily there yet, but the quality certainly is. And how much more would that quality be improved upon if you were able to snag a guy like a Davian Gross or like a Jake Krell, or even like this one very much feels like it's pretty much in the bag at this point. Deacon Schmidt on Saturday. It's going to be another big-time addition for Oklahoma, assuming nothing takes a left turn there.
Santa John says on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line 405-651-3439, when is Craig Dandridge committing? That's tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
He does commit tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to find out where Craig Dandridge is headed. I got to source a little bit more intel when I get off the airwaves today, but still favoring Georgia there. I don't know that he's out of range for Oklahoma. I don't know that this is a process that can't swing late. I mean, we've seen it so many times already this month that you kind of have grown accustomed to expecting the unexpected, but I do give the edge to Georgia right this second in the recruitment of Craig Dandridge. Okay, folks, we got to hit an opening timeout here, 405-651-3439. There's another blue chipper I have not yet mentioned with whom I think Oklahoma is trending very well. Probably picks up his commitment here in the next couple of weeks. We will dive into that situation and what it means for Oklahoma at his position on the other side. Keep it right here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans, and we shall return.
Motorcycle riders face extra dangers on the road because of distracted drivers. Each year, thousands of lives are forever changed by tragic crashes, leaving families to pick up the pieces.
We understand the emotional toll these crashes cause. Insurance companies don't. At McIntyre Law, we're here to level the playing field.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a motorcycle crash, call us at 405-777-7000. We are McIntyre Law, protecting Oklahoma riders one case at a time.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
Beat the heat at Hey Pickle Pickle, Heyday Entertainment's brand new pickleball facility. With 5 indoor courts, Oklahoma summer won't be able to stop you from getting your game on. Learn more at heypicklefun.com, and remember, drink responsibly.
Imagine one step, and suddenly a fall turns into a fracture. For many, osteoporosis is a hidden threat, weakening bones silently until it's too late. At the Ortho Central Bone Health Clinic, we believe in personalized care to keep bones strong and resilient. Led by advanced practitioner Amanda Boyd, our team specializes in detection and personalized treatment plans, from bone density testing to strengthening bones after a fracture. Take charge of your bone health today. Call Ortho Central's Bone Health Clinic and let's build better bones together.
Whether it's yesterday, today, or tomorrow, no one covers the Sooners like we do. From the voice of the Sooners on The Rush every day for the triple option.
We've landed on the triple option, and I'm excited.
To the Plank Show, taking over your morning drive from 6 to 9.
Every single radio person, what they want to do is they want to do a morning show.
And the addition of the SEC Network's Dari Oka from 9 to noon.
While remembering that Oklahoma is top dog, I want to bring an SEC perspective.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Hey Sooner fans, it's almost football season, and there's no better time to gear up than right now at Balfour of Norman, your locally owned headquarters for all things Sooner. Whether you're searching for your new lucky game day polo, tee, or hat, we've got you covered from top brands like Nike, Jordan, and Tommy Bahama. Looking to take your tailgate or watch party up a notch? Check out our great selection of OU glassware, flags, and serving pieces. Come support local, stock up on Sooner style, and get ready to yell Boomer Sooner, only at Balfour of Norman, where Sooner spirit lives year-round.
The Cornhole Tournament is back at Buffalo Wild Wings. Come out to the Bixby Buffalo Wild Wings on Saturday, July 12th. Registration begins at 11 a.m. with the tournament starting at noon. You can enjoy $2, $3, or $4 drink specials during the event, plus great prizes for first, second, and third place, along with many other great prizes, including a grand prize of Ultra Cornhole boards. Join Buffalo Wild Wings in Bixby, July 12th, starting at noon for the 2025 Summer Cornhole Tournament.
Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Visit Confidence Ford of Norman and receive employee pricing on our Ford lineup. But that's not all. We'll also give you a complimentary spray-in bed liner and window tint on all remaining new 2024 Super Duty trucks in stock, or save up to $10,000 on all remaining new 2024 Broncos. Drive the Ford you've always wanted from a team that puts you first. Visit us today, conveniently located at 825 North Interstate Drive. Confidence Ford of Norman, part of the Cavender Auto family, where confidence is Cavender. Summer just got better with Heyday Entertainment. Join us for bowling, mini golf, laser tag, and so much more. And check out Hey Pickle Pickle, our brand new pickleball facility. Learn more at heydayfun.com. Heyday, where you choose your fun.
It's the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. You're listening to Locked In. Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton, talking OU football and recruiting with you here during the 2 o'clock hour. The show brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. Make the short trek out there and let them get you set up with one of the most reliable trucks and or SUVs on the market. Plus, take advantage of their half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Appreciate Dorsey Jones GMC for their partnership. The Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, again, 405-651-3439 if you want to chime in throughout the show. And Grayson, Oklahoma has one safety commit at this particular moment in 3-star Nico Jandro out of Chandler, Arizona. Of course, he and his twin brother Bo both committed to Oklahoma. Nico is a safety. Bo is a linebacker. I like Oklahoma right now to pick up a second safety in the 2026 class, and I think this one could happen pretty soon. Not like imminently. I'm not saying like by the next time we're on air tomorrow you're going to know something, but I do get the sense that this one is going to be over in the next few weeks, and I like where Oklahoma sits coming out of the Champ U Barbecue weekend with Jacob Eberhardt out of Kirkwood, Missouri. If you're not familiar with Kirkwood, that's suburban St. Louis, and much like Michael Boganowski, Eberhardt is a guy that Oklahoma likes as a safety, despite the fact that he quite objectively has linebacker size and is a linebacker recruit for a lot of other programs. We're talking about a dude that is 6'3", 215 pounds. And Oklahoma, Brandon Hall decided, you know what? Despite the size, we think you can play a pretty mean safety in the SEC. Thus far, it's worked out pretty nicely with Boganowski. Could Oklahoma have another such prospect coming down the pipeline here before long in Eberhardt? Oklahoma's primarily battling Nebraska and Illinois there, but the Sooners made a really strong impression on the Champ U Barbecue weekend, and I think at this point they're going to wind up getting that one done, which would be a huge pickup. This is a kid that, again, blue-chip talent, one of the top prospects in the state of Missouri, Grayson. He's somebody that a lot of programs nationally want. He's got Alabama. He's got LSU. He's got some of the bigger offers across the country. But as this thing kind of comes into focus down the stretch, Oklahoma appears to have the edge.
And Oklahoma has done something well with two people. You mentioned one of them, Michael Boganowski, who could reasonably project to have been a linebacker, except Brandon Hall said, nah, you're going to be a safety. The other one here to me, there's two other things. One of them is Robert Spears-Jennings. Now, Robert Spears-Jennings does not have the size to be a linebacker. He's 6 foot 214. But he plays like one sometimes. So he likes to play down in the box and come up and run support. Similar to, the best example I can give of this is what teams struggled to figure out with Jamal Adams in the NFL after he came out of LSU. What he did with the Jets and the Seahawks. A box safety. And because of your ability to get a lot out of players like that, that can appeal to a guy who can basically go between both. Here's the third thing that I think works in Oklahoma's favor, and that is the presence of the cheetah position. A guy like a Jacob Eberhardt could easily waffle back and forth until he finds his most comfortable fit. Now, just because you see a guy and you're saying, ooh, you can play safety here, maybe he does play safety. But there is a fallback because of that cheetah spot. What if he is Brent Venables, if he finally is Brent Venables' next Isaiah Simmons? If Kendall Daniels doesn't live up to that. And Kendall Daniels certainly should. By the way, a guy who has gone between safety and linebacker before at Oklahoma State before he transferred to OU. So there's a lot working here, I think, schematic-wise, with guys like that, which is what makes Brent Venables' defense ultimately really intriguing to guys like a Michael Boganowski, like a Jacob Everhart, and the flexibility that Brandon Hall has displayed with allowing his safeties to play in the box and be physical and run support like what he's done with Robert Spears-Jennings.
Everhart's a guy that Oklahoma sees primarily as a true safety. You know, they're not necessarily pitching him on a fit. I think that's actually a lot more likely with Nico Jandro at this point than it is with Jacob Everhart, but certainly it's nice to have a fallback because, as you learn with a guy like Jaron Kanik, sometimes the position that you see a dude fitting most naturally into does not wind up suiting him. And so with the knowledge that Everhart's big enough and is going to be able to pack on more muscle to the point where he can slide down and be a really menacing cheetah or even a linebacker, an inside linebacker, there's a lot to like about the way that he fits into Brent Venables' scheme and the versatility that he will possess as a member of that group. So if Oklahoma can hold serve in the recruitment of Jacob Everhart, man, what a phenomenal addition that would be. Another one that has the potential to go Oklahoma's way here in the next few weeks that could be hugely consequential in terms of not just how their 2026 class shapes up, but how the future of that defense shapes up. On the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, Greg from Blanchard would like to know, where is Jake Krell originally from? He is originally from Orlando, Florida, so he did not have to go very far to enroll at IMG Academy in Lake Bradenton, Florida. So he's a Florida kid. Oklahoma is battling Texas, Florida, and Ohio State primarily for Jake Krell right now. But they got the leg up. They got the inside track. There's no question about that. A 580 listener asked, will Jake Krell commit today? No, Jake Krell will not be announcing in favor of Oklahoma today or probably at any time in the near future. I think that one's still a ways off from wrapping up, but Oklahoma has definitely set the pace, as we discussed at length in the first segment. AJ and Edmond would like to know, Grayson, does the Danny Beal pledge to Oklahoma State have any bearing on the Taj Overton recruitment? So in case you missed it, Oklahoma State did pick up a commitment today from four-star Cherry Valley, Arkansas defensive lineman Danny Beal.
I haven't gotten to dig much into Beal just yet. Haven't gotten the chance to do that. But I will say, and my guess is probably not.
No.
Because Taj Overton is better than Danny Beal. It is a really good pickup, and they could be a nice 1-2 tandem for the Pokes. But no, Taj Overton is not steering away from Oklahoma State just due to the presence of Danny Beal.
Yeah, no. I mean, defensive tackle is one of those positions where you plan on taking multiple every single year. There's not an exclusivity implied there the way that there is with quarterback and occasionally other positions as well. I could make the argument Danny Beal's better than Taj Overton. He's a really impressive player, man.
He is good.
He had an OU offer. OU recruited him for quite a while. I think eventually just realized there wasn't a ton of traction there. And so moved on to other targets. But, yes, Oklahoma State wraps it up with Danny Beal today. And they still look good to be the destination for Taj Overton on Friday. It's really getting difficult to keep track of all of these commitment dates, Grayson, because guys are setting them and guys are setting, what I love about this cycle is that in the past, you've had guys that would set commitment dates for August or September or even October, November. I mean, late in the year. Everybody that's setting commitment dates right now, with very few exceptions, is setting them for end of June, beginning of July.
Man, they want this thing over with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they like it and they like the pageantry and all that, but ultimately you want this over with. One-star Colin Claremore says, does Miami picking up a tight end yesterday help OU with Zachary Turner?
Does it help OU with Zachary Turner? I mean, yes. And look, I know Miami has been where the buzz is with Zachary Turner over the last few days. That's a long way from over, and Oklahoma's going to continue to fight the battle there. Like, it helps Oklahoma sell Zachary Turner on coming to OU, especially because Oklahoma's recruiting him as a wide receiver and Miami's recruiting him as a tight end. So I say, look, you're not even the only tight end that they're taking. And how many times these days are you seeing teams roll out packages that feature multiple tight ends? Not too often. So it's a different conversation if you're the only tight end in the picture down there at Miami, but you're not. They're taking another guy. We've already told you what our pitch is if you want to come to Oklahoma, which is you're going to play receiver. We're going to move you around. We're going to get you in the backfield a little bit. You're going to do some H-back stuff. We're going to use you as a very versatile offensive chess piece. That's far superior to the vision that Miami has for you. So don't be dissuaded by the sheer money factor. I do think Oklahoma's going to have to come up a little bit in the money department if they're going to sway Zachary Turner over the course of the last couple weeks of his recruitment. But, again, not over by a long shot with that kid, and Oklahoma wants him badly.
One-star Sam at Edmonds says, how does State beat out Bates for Taj Overton?
Your first guess is probably correct. I'll just leave it at that. A 580 listener asks, where do we stand with Deuce Gerald's? Okay, so we're circling back because this got brought up in the 12 o'clock hour. I asked if we could put a pin in it at that time till Locked In rolled around, and here we are. So Deuce Gerald's considered across the industry to be one of the top defensive linemen in the entire 2026 class. He's down there at Collins Hill High School in Sewanee, Georgia. I believe that's Travis Hunter's alma mater, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
But he is considered by Rivals to be the number 2 defensive tackle in the nation. He is considered by ESPN to be the number 2 defensive tackle in the nation. He is, according to the On3 industry consensus, the number 94 overall player in the 2026 cycle, regardless of position. This is a guy that, somewhat surprisingly, Grayson, is not that big physically. He's about 6'1", 270, maybe 275. He's not huge, and he's not physically overpowering. He is strong as a bull, though, and really, really dexterous as a rusher. So he was at the Rivals 5-star in Indianapolis. I kid you not. I don't know if the rep has made the rounds on social media, and I can't remember who the offensive lineman was, but he went up against an offensive lineman who is committed to another Power 4 school and literally just ragdolled him straight backward.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lined it up again, and he skirted right around him, beat him with speed. So beat him with power first, then beat him with speed. And he won the overwhelming majority of the reps that he took throughout the Rivals 5-star against offensive linemen, all of whom have many a P4 offer or are committed to P4 schools. He's going against the best of the best, and he was dominating yesterday. Where Oklahoma stands in that recruitment, it's hard to say. It's hard to it's hard to know because Oklahoma is still in touch with Deuce Gerald's. There is talk of an in-season visit right now, but I will say when he showed up to the Rivals 5-star, when they do the photo shoot, they ask all the recruits to pick the hats of their top schools. If they're not committed to a certain school, if they're still uncommitted, they'll ask you to pick all of the hats of your top schools and hold them for a photo. OU was not one of the 5 hats that Deuce Gerald was holding. So Oklahoma's a bit of an outsider looking in right now, but if an in-season visit does occur, and if the money's there, then it's very much within the realm of possibility that Oklahoma could become a serious player in the recruitment of a guy like Deuce Gerald's. So from that standpoint, when you look at it from that perspective, and I think if you're just resigned to the reality that Oklahoma doesn't lead, Oklahoma probably isn't top 3 right now, but they got a puncher's chance, that's just even if it's something you're not building confidence over, it's certainly something to file away for when the season kicks off. So yeah, circle back around, see how things are doing with Deuce Gerald's at that time. Has he already committed? Is he still on the open market? What is Oklahoma going to be willing to put in front of him monetarily to commit? All of those things come into play.
Frisco Sooner says, what is it with OU and Owasso? Maybe it's just me, but it just seems like they miss out on a ton of kids from there. The Taj Overton deal is really kind of a head-scratcher to me. Wasn't there another Owasso defensive end that committed to USC as well in this class, or is that kid from Jinx?
To US, oh, no. So that was last cycle, and that kid was from Jinx. That was Cash Jacobson.
Yes.
Cash Jacobson committed to USC over OU.
That was a 2025 class. He was just a late commit, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Very, very late. He was committed to South Dakota State for a long, long time.
Yes.
When was the last time there was an Owasso Sooner? How far back do you have to go? Because it's a good point, and I think it's something – it was actually brought up on the message boards at OUinsider.com when I put out the initial report that, hey, it's actually Oklahoma State trending with Taj Overton, not OU. Somebody said, yeah, there you go, Owasso, the Duncanville of Oklahoma. Oklahoma hasn't been able to crack Duncanville, save for Savion Byrd. Duncanville and DeSoto, which are two of the bigger schools down there in the South Dallas area that churn out a ton of P4 talent every single year. Oklahoma has not been in those schools. With one singular exception, Savion Byrd, for like 15, 20 years. Oklahoma hasn't landed a player from DeSoto since Brian Jackson in like the 2008 class, I want to say. It's been forever since they got into DeSoto. They managed to get Savion Byrd. That's the only Duncanville kid in the last decade that they've been able to land. So they're in it with Zach Turner. They're in it with KJ Ford. But OU notoriously is an outsider at Duncanville and DeSoto. And similarly, man, there have been so many kids that have come through Owasso in recent years. Josh Proctor comes to mind. Cole Adams certainly comes to mind. If this Taj Overton decision goes the way we expect it to go here, that's just another kid that had the offer from Oklahoma, was a priority for Oklahoma, and wound up choosing another school. So I don't know what you point the finger at there. I don't know how much of it is coincidence and how much of it is an actual discernible issue in relationships or communication or whatever it may be, but Owasso is quickly becoming the school. Chris McClellan as well. Chris McClellan, too. Owasso is very quickly becoming a school at which Oklahoma has a reputation of pursuing guys and not getting them.
Josh Proctor that went to Ohio State is obviously going to be the biggest name. But ultimately, you're going to end up cracking it at some point.
Oh, yeah, at some point you will. Somebody on the text line brought up Andrew Rame. Andrew Rame was at Broken Arrow, not Owasso. And OU has had some success at Broken Arrow.
Robert Spears Jennings.
Robert Spears Jennings was a BA kid. But yeah, Owasso, it's been a little while since Oklahoma got a kid from Owasso. I got to do some research in the break, figure out who the last one was.
A couple of people have said Aaron Colvin, too.
Do you have to go all the way back to Aaron freaking Colvin, man? That's like 15 years. It's like 15 years. I will do some research in the break and find out when the last time Oklahoma landed an Owasso kid on scholarship was. But let's get a quick word in from our sponsors. When we return, we will be back to wrap up Locked In with one final segment of OU Recruiting Talk. I'm out here at Cavens Group. Hit the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
The word is spreading, and the Ref Army is growing. Keep telling your friends and family that there's only one station for true Sooner fans, and that's the Ref Radio Sports Network, and worldwide on the KREF app.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
Beats and Bites Festival is back again at Riverwind Casino. Dance all night at the I Want My 80s tour on July 19th, featuring Rick Springfield, John Waite, with crave-worthy eats from local food trucks. Get your tickets online or at the box office for just $10. Only at Riverwind Casino.
Feeling stuck in your current home? Now is the best time to make a move. Home Creations is making home ownership more affordable with low interest rate opportunities and special financing. Don't wait. Live like a champion today. Call Holly at 405-364-9999 to find your dream home.
364-9999 means Home Creations.
Home is where memories are made, where life happens and love grows. And at Armstrong Bank, we can get you there. Whether you're buying a home, refinancing, renovating, or taking advantage of your home equity, we're here to help you make your next memories. Home is wherever you're headed. For more information, visit an Armstrong Bank location near you. Armstrong Bank. Strength runs in our family. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, everybody. Toby Rowland here for one of my favorite places to golf, the Trails Golf Club in Norman. The Trails offers great golf activities for the entire family. Men's and Ladies Golf Association events, summer junior golf for the kids, plus club fittings throughout the year. The Trails also has great family social events, monthly special dinners, plus holiday brunches and catering. When you're looking for the perfect place to golf, check out the Trails Golf Club in Norman. Contact Zane Alexander today at 405-364-3790 or visit trailsgolf.com. Be part of the Sooner Magic for your favorite OU teams by becoming a season ticket holder. The SEC men's basketball schedule will be packed with 2025 NCAA tournament teams, while the OU women's basketball squad is set for another electrifying year after last season's Sweet 16 appearance. Plus, catch every perfect 10 of your reigning national champion women's gymnastics team, or join the football season ticket wait list to be among the first to secure seats as they become available. Visit Soonersports.com/tickets for your season ticket options today.
Hey, all you electricians out there. Are you unhappy with your job? Ever feel like some employers see you as just a name on a time card instead of a human being? Well, at Wade Electric, they're a third-generation family-owned company serving the Norman and Oklahoma City area for over 50 years. They value their employees and want to help them succeed and enjoy their career in the electrical field. If you are unsatisfied with your current situation and are ready to make a change, call Wade Electric at 405-329-1940 to hear about their benefits and learn how to join the team.
Somewhere, there's a river rushing through the woods while someone rushes through their day. There's a mountain looking up at the sky while someone looks down at their phone. A trail waiting to be walked while someone waits for a latte. This world is full of somewheres waiting for someone just like you. So go see yours at 154 national forests and 20 grasslands. And to learn more, visit nationalforest.org. The National Forest Foundation. See your somewhere.
Whoever said Aaron Colvin, excuse me. Ding, 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 you're a winner. It has really been that long. The last Owasso Sooner was Aaron Colvin in the class of 2010. Grayson. 2010. It has been almost 16 years since Oklahoma landed an Owasso Ram on scholarship to play the sport of football.
That's kind of wild when you think about it.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because Owasso's a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Man, in the state of Oklahoma, it's a powerhouse. It produces P4 talent pretty much every single year. And yet, if Taj Overton's decision doesn't go your way, man, I don't know when the next opportunity you will have to land an Owasso Sooner would be. But how crazy is it that it's been that long since Oklahoma has landed a kid from one of the top programs in the state? I mean, you're not looking at a drought of anything near that length with the other top programs across the state, i.e. Jenks, for instance, Bixby. If you want to bring things over to the west side, obviously you have Mustang, you have Norman North. Union up on the east side as well. Like some of the most iconic programs and some of the most star-studded programs in the state, Oklahoma has been able to pull talent from regularly, all with the exception of Owasso.
Well, doesn't Owasso, well, I guess he transferred to Broken Arrow now, but wasn't Bryson Brown there, the safety?
Bryson Brown, yes, he was at Owasso. He's at BA now, him and Samaj Stanford.
I'll say both he and Samaj Stanford went to BA.
Mm-hmm.
Is Oklahoma involved with either of them?
Oklahoma is involved with both Samaj Stanford and Bryson Brown, yes. Samaj Stanford is and will continue to be a priority for the staff. I'm not 100% sure about Bryson Brown. I don't know how much of a reevaluation there has been on him since Jim Nagy and staff got to town, but anybody that held an OU offer prior to Nagy's arrival, if I haven't been told specifically and definitively, yeah, this guy is still going to be a major target for us, I'm a little bit apprehensive as to whether that offer even still stands. So I can't speak definitively to that with Bryson Brown. I know I can with Samaj Stanford. With Bryson Brown, I'm not quite sure. Denver from Indiana wants to know, is there bad blood? Coach is mad? Well, not to my knowledge. I mean, there have been different coaches over the years at Owasso that have rolled through. And so I don't think you can necessarily point the finger at one individual. Oh, so-and-so is keeping their kids from coming to the University of Oklahoma. I know that's a narrative that gets thrown out there from time to time with a school that Oklahoma is having trouble cracking. And I do think that absolutely exists at DeSoto. Oklahoma has never been able to get on the good side of the staff at DeSoto. And so that's what's contributed to their offer streak at that school. With Duncanville and with Owasso both, I think it's just kind of coincidence. I would love it if there were a more specific diagnosis than that, but I don't think there is one. Sooner Dude says there was a fullback that went to Michigan and drafted in the first round a few years ago, head scratching. That was Dax Hill. He was not a fullback. He was a
safety
back. Yeah, maybe he meant DB and just mistyped there. Colin Claremore says, don't worry, boys. The wife and I will end up sending the kids to Owasso. Just got to start having boys, though. Yeah, let us know how that goes, Cole. Keep us posted. Reformed Homer says, I can't remember OU getting a Bixby guy? ? Well, OU, he wasn't a scholarship guy, but Oklahoma does have Bixby kids on the roster right now. I believe they're still on the roster, right? Cale Fugate, Jacob Snyder have both been on the roster in recent years. Evan McClure was a guy that walked on to Oklahoma to play offensive line. At one point, because of all the injuries, was the first-team center on the practice field last fall camp. He's at Tulsa now on full scholarship, transferred this past offseason. But Oklahoma, in the next week or so, I guess just over a week, July 3rd, they could have a Bixby Spartan committed in Braden Presley. So we'll see how that one goes. I like Oklahoma right now. I don't think that one's quite over. But Oklahoma could wind up with a Bixby Spartan here within the next several days.
Jacob Snyder, is that any relation to Emory Snyder, who committed to West Virginia?
I believe that's his older brother, yeah.
Okay.
I think you should have gone after Emory Snyder.
Oh, we know. We have a laundry list, you and I, Parker, of kids in the state of Oklahoma that we think OU should have gone after.
I mean, I don't know that I feel that way strongly about anybody in the state in the 26 cycle outside of Mason James and Emory Snyder. Like, those are the two I'll stay on the table for. Evan from Blanchard says, Duncanville/Owasso is like a really hot girl. You got to keep asking. Eventually one will say yes. I guess.
I don't know. You also might get labeled a creep. Interesting thought, though.
I don't really know how to react to that. Oklahoma's trying at Duncanville right now. Boy, are they trying. With both Zach Turner and with KJ Ford. Like, they haven't waved the white flag in the KJ Ford battle, man. And I've already said that recruitment frustrates me.
You know what's funny is that somebody actually asked that on the text line is, can we get an update on KJ Ford?
Oklahoma's still in the fight, and they're going to stay in the fight, man. They got 2 defensive end commits already. They're trending well for a 3rd in Jake Krell and a 4th in DeAnthony Lafayette, but KJ Ford is very much still on the board. And so they're going to keep trying. Do I think he winds up in Oklahoma's class? No, I do not. Let's just set that expectation right now. But they're still trying to make it happen. Colin Claremore asks, Parker, how big of a class do you think OU ends up with? I know you and Drum thought it would be smaller, but now seem to think it might be much bigger. How big are we talking? I'm going to say 22 to 24. That's been my answer. That'll continue to be my answer. I think 22 to 24 commits in this class is probably the range that you're looking at, especially because Oklahoma, there's going to be room for fluctuation both in a positive direction and in a negative direction. Devin Robeson, the 3-star offensive lineman from Pasadena, Texas, did wind up committing to TCU yesterday. That was a guy that everybody on the OU side thought he's showing up and committing, man. Like, that's a wrap. He was giving off all the right vibes to the staff. The expectation was he was going to get to town for his OV and shut it down. And suffice to say, that did not happen. He takes the OU OV, turns around quickly, and commits to TCU. So that's a guy that you kind of had not sharpied into the class, but penciled in, that is no longer in the picture. And so how does Oklahoma react to that? We may not know for a little while, because at this point, OV season is over. The dead period lasts all the way through July and through August, so you're not going to have the chance to host official visitors again until the season starts. It may be a couple months before we figure out where Oklahoma pivots on the interior offensive line. I'm doing some homework today on Drew Evers. Drew Evers, the 4-star interior offensive lineman from Flower Mound, Texas, because I don't think he's going to pick Oklahoma, but I can't rule it out. He's got OU in his final 6. Decision coming pretty soon for the blue-chip guard prospect, and he and his folks, they love Oklahoma a lot and always have.
Speaking of Drew Evers, this texter in the 405 asks, Drew Evers and what about Zane Rowe?
We're so far off from figuring out where Zane Rowe's going to go to college. Like, man, we got at least another year or so to talk about that one. He's a 27, obviously, 4-star defensive end from Denton Guyer. Committed to Oklahoma at one point, was committed for close to 9 months. Nebraska is going to be in the mix heavily. Georgia's going to be in the mix. Oregon's going to be in the mix. Texas A&M will be in the mix. I don't freaking know right now. Chris from Knoxville says, who are going to be your screw it, I'm putting a prediction in for OU candidates this year, Parker? LOL. I don't know. I'm increasingly growing more and more tired of the prediction game. I might be past the point in my life where I enter predictions at all, just because I think there are way too many people that interpret predictions as a sign of an imminent commitment. And then when things change, as they always do when you're dealing with recruits, everybody wants to, I thought we were getting this kid. Why aren't we getting this kid? What happened? How did we miss so bad? No, sometimes things just change. But you can't convince some people of that. It creates an expectation in way too many people's minds immediately when they see a prediction that, Oklahoma's getting this kid. No, Oklahoma may be trending in the recruitment. That's what the prediction means, is the trend is for Oklahoma. But trends can change just like that, more so in 2025 than ever before when you toss in the money factor. So I have several residual predictions in. I picked Oklahoma for Deacon Schmidt last July. That one's shaping up well to pay off this Saturday. I picked OU for Braxton Lindsey in February. Still feel great about that one as well. Outside of that, I might be done dabbling in predictions. Florida Sooner says, but Parker, don't the bosses encourage predictions? Yeah, they do. I also don't really care. I mean, it's not that I don't care what the bosses have to say. I mean, if the bosses tell me to put in predictions, I'll put in predictions. But also, if they're just going to say, we strongly encourage you to enter predictions, then I'm going to regard their opinion, their input as input, and I'm going to not do that because there's just way too much blowback that can come with predictions. I don't even really think it's necessarily worth it. My philosophy on that has changed a lot over the last year or two, in large part due to NIL. I'm a company man. I'll do what the bosses tell me, but if I have my choice and I'm merely encouraged as opposed to instructed, well, I'll make those choices for myself. That's it for today's installment of Locked In here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Tyler and Ted take over next. The Rush is coming your way. 3 more hours of OU sports talk on tap. For Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Take it easy, everybody.